Take a look at what's happening in the county of Nairobi, where a special sitting of the Senate is set to be held next week to discuss the impeachment of Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko after the Speaker received a formal notification from the County Assembly on Friday. Meanwhile, it has emerged that an elaborate plan to impeach Sonko was hatched for 1 month. Let's take a look at that interview with KTN News, where Kilimani Ward MCA Moses Ogeto says all the 88 MCAs who voted to pass the impeachment motion have been and continue being under round-the-clock surveillance.
For years, Governor Mike Sonko has been running a Sonko Rescue Team outlet to alleviate situations for the neglected needy in the capital, Nairobi, by offering parallel services to the government. But when his hour of need came, he was on his own. Even a team of MCAs he had shipped to Kwale County failed to rescue the controversial, flamboyant, and a siege governor. According to Kilimani MCA Moses Ogeto, the plan to cage Sonko was meticulously orchestrated after the initial attempt by former minority leader Peter Imwatok was scuttled.
Governor is not a one-day event. You must plan. We have been planning this for the last 1 month. Yes.
Both Jubilee and ODM parties tactically suspended 12 MCAs few hours to the impeachment motion, making 110 the legal number for MCAs who would participate in the process, strategically reducing the number required for attaining 2/3 from 82 to 74. 58 MCAs were physically present in the chamber, while 32 attended the sitting virtually. But during the vote, all members had to log in.
Even the budgets which Sonko by then signed for the supplementary budget was done virtually, and he signed it. Then the new speaker who came in was elected on a virtual platform. So we have been transacting the business of that house since 2020 when COVID came on virtual platform.
Then there are questions about the exact number of MCAs that were flown to Kwale by the embattled governor, with the number of 57 that were paraded with numbered red placards being challenged.
I've talked those who allied to Sonko, who is one of them is Ochola. He told me that he didn't even go to Mombasa. He has told me he had a funeral at his home. So he attended the assembly virtually. And I have asked him, how many do you think members who are in Mombasa, who are in Kwale? He has said 26. Yes.
As the Senate prepares to handle the Sonko impeachment, whose endgame could be a by-election in the event his impeachment is upheld by the Senate, a fresh twist has emerged with regard to Polycarp Igathe, who left office after serving for barely 6 months. Is he still deputy governor?
Definitely, you must be degazetted. And I've never seen, within the law, Igathe being degazetted as a deputy governor of Nairobi City County. I've not seen that gazette notice.
Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka has confirmed the receipt of the notice of impeachment from the Nairobi County Assembly, paving way for a special sitting to be held next week to determine the fate of the embattled Governor Sonko. Duncan Hemba, KTN News.
Well, it's interesting whatever is happening in Nairobi. Well, apart from the impeachment process that culminated in the voting on Friday, we expect more to happen in the Senate. But let's take a look at some of the issues that are rising from that particular impeachment. Mark Bichachi, I mean, this matter is close to your heart as a Nairobi resident. Please break it down for us in 2 minutes. I'll have to be strict about the time. Did Polycarp Igathe abscond his duties? Is he rightfully the deputy governor as it stands? Is this the system? What are we seeing right now?
First, I still want to know the date, registration, birth certificate, or whatever it is we use to identify the system, because what I have seen is exactly what political parties do. If a political party wanted to impeach Jacob Zuma in South Africa, there was a caucus, there was a vote, he was removed, and no one said the system removed Jacob Zuma. We cannot put something in our constitution and then when we use it, we say it's a system. We cannot create political parties. And then when political parties flex their muscles, we say it is the system. That is just lazy propaganda aimed at saving the prison prefect and trying to save face. And I must call that for what it is. Now, is Polycarp Igathe deputy governor of this county? I think not. And I'd be very sad to see the day that Polycarp Igathe became the deputy governor of this county. Number one, he's shown me over the last 3 years that he cannot keep any job for more than 6 months. He does not stay around long enough to show that he cares. And number two, when the case of the IEBC commissioners who came out to say that they had not really resigned, they were on paid sabbatical, the courts reminded us that if you publicly declare yourself resigned, then the courts have no obligation than to consider you resigned. So there is no deputy governor by the name of Polycarp Igathe. It is a position he held for a very short time. And personally, I think we need people with more grit and temerity to run this country. But as for the prison prefect, he's had this coming for a long time. I'm not using that as a derogatory term. He did say that he was a leader in prison. The prison prefect, this he's getting his just desserts. And I think the people of Nairobi deserve better, and let him suffer the fate of his own actions.
We'll wait to see what lies in the Senate, but even as that happens, Hesbon, I mean, it is unfortunate. 88 MCAs, we're told, voted against Sonko, while on his camp, he claims he had roughly 57 MCAs in his camp. So it's a game of numbers. Irrespective of this side drama, Nairobi needs to move forward. Which way Nairobi? Husband.
Well, I think what we've seen is theater of the absurd. This is more than a drama. That the over 30 MCAs out of the 57 who are with Sonko in Kwale were part of the 86 MCAs who had last week signed that censor motion. And then you have this massive number that, impeached Sonko at the county assembly. And you can actually tell that we need to be a lot more serious in who we give the power to be the MCA, because it was probably a lot more intricate and, less of a public interest, transparent kind of a process. And I think Mark has alluded to it, that the Constitution gives them the power to do the right thing. It doesn't have to be done the way it has been done. But I think Sonko called it on himself that irrespective of what he was going to do, pour money, take them to holiday camps, these guys are going to, vote in the interest of Nairobians. It didn't have to go the way it went, but at the end of the day, this matter is with the Senate, and given what has happened in the last 3 instances that we've seen the governors at the Senate, there is some sense in which there is no way out for Sonko. I'm not seeing a situation where Senate is going to save him. I'm not trying to preempt the outcome, but I'm just looking at the probability of him getting the numbers to survive, and I don't see that. The allegations against Mike Sonko notwithstanding, there is an overriding public interest factor here that we're talking about the capital city. The funds that NMS is starved of is actually grinding this city. And Sonko himself has some functions, and he has starved himself of funds. And I think that is a situation that you wouldn't want your capital city to be in. And I'm not so sure senators will look at it in any other way. So as we speak, I think it's the end of the road for Mike Mbuvi Sonko, sad as it may be, because Sonko has, other than what Mark refers to as the prison prefect, I think he has, a political clout in some sense that has been very reassuring for a very large population of people in this country. And in as much as he's going, I think there are lessons to be learned here, that there are positions that you don't just give on the basis of popularity. You give on the basis of what you want delivered, and I hope Kenyans have learned as we go to a by-election, because that is the only way out. We'll get another governor in Nairobi. We need to think with the interest of the capital city of this country, which is more or less the hub of the East and Central.
Okay. Let's move on. Gloria, I'm interested with the NMS aspect with this, because the agreement in terms of transfer of powers, those four functions rather, was between Sonko and on the other side, the national government in respect with Major General Badi. Now, if Sonko is impeached, does this still stand? Will we still see NMS? Which way, Nairobi?
First of all, the transfer of function was not between Sonko as the governor. It was between the government of Nairobi County to national government. So it was not about the person in office, yes. That's the issue that I was always talking about. For me, that is like so many steps back on devolution. But I would like to talk about the fact that this has nothing to do with Sonko as a person. This is simply a contest between the system and the people. It's that simple. It's simply a contest between the commoner and dynasties. And what you're seeing happening, no. When Mark Bichache said, show me an idea of the system, I will also ask him, show me an idea of the government. When you say government, is it a person? It's not a person. It's an institution. And so the system is an institution, and it is run by a couple of people. But let's not delve so much into that. I want to talk about the fact that people keep bringing up the idea that Sonko is a prison prefect. Well, he might have been a prison prefect. He might have admitted and he might have said that. But I want you to see how much of a headache he is. How much of a headache in terms of him being a prison prefect, the transferable skills that he has now used to bring into government. And I'm liking what I hear from MCA Mageto when he said that, by the way, as much as Igathe resigned, he actually was not degazetted. And so there also is a gray area. I mean, is he still the deputy governor? In which case, does the speaker then take over for the next 60 days? Or is it actually Igathe being told, maybe you absconded duty, but here is your chance for you to come in? And finally, to speak on this issue of Sonko, when you undermine the poor people, when you undermine those people who you think are not intelligent, when you undermine the commoners and what you want to call the bottom of the food chain Kenyans of this country, this is the trump card in this whole contest that Sonko has put. Because at the end of the day, also remember that there's nothing in our constitution that stops Sonko after he has been impeached from running again. He can be impeached and he can run again in the next by-election. And, you know, chances are that, the way I see it, he might actually be voted in. Right. So the system is actually getting shocked at all the spanners that have been thrown into the works. Okay. They had a plan. We are going to do this. We are going to introduce NMS. We are going to impeach Sonko. Then the speaker will take on 60 days. Then we'll field our candidate. And who would have thought that people will bring up the issue of Igathe having not been degazetted? Who would have thought that Sonko would have been such a headache that he's mobilizing and ensuring that even if you're going to get me out, I will not go down without a fight. And by the way, if Governor Sonko is listening to me, please keep it up. Yes. Okay.
Shortly, Dismas Mukua, she's brought up a couple of issues. The issue of Article 182.4. Who takes over after? Bearing in mind that IEBC mentioned that they haven't gazetted, they didn't receive the formal communication. It was through the media in terms of Igathe's resignation. Which way, Nairobi?
You know, just there's a risk of us being driven to responding to fake news and alternative facts. And that will not benefit the Nairobi residents, the people who expect service delivery from Governor Sonko. So to suggest that Governor Sonko is being forced by the system because of having achieved a certain level of success that is made the dynasties uncomfortable is propaganda that must not be allowed in this show. In fact, if you are the National Assembly, we have demanded that it gets deleted from the Hansard, that the records do not reflect as much. The reason why Governor Sonko is in trouble is assaulting the Kenyan Constitution. He has assaulted Chapter 6, he has assaulted Article 10, he has behaved in a manner that has brought disrespect to the leadership of Nairobi County. He was given the responsibility to collect garbage. He was given the responsibility to take Nairobi to the next level. And Nairobi is not just the capital city for Kenya. Nairobi is the regional city in Africa. You've got the UN in Nairobi. You've got diplomats assembled in Nairobi, international correspondents in Nairobi. You've got global multinationals operating outside Nairobi. And they expected that the leadership of Nairobi would be A-class. And you know, the person who brought us here, or the institution which brought us here, which takes primary liability, is the Jubilee administration. You recall we were told that Sonko would be given a right opportunity to engage in politics, while Igathe would be running the show. Based on that, some voters decided to vote for Sonko. In fact, in my view, Sonko is not even probably guilty of this. The people who are supposed to take responsibility is the Jubilee Party leadership. Now, he failed to deliver. And the Jubilee Party leadership admitted liability by introducing NMS. We are told that NMS is delivering, although there is no evidence to confirm that they've actually delivered, because it seems to be all sizzle and no meat. But at least understand, when you go to town, the pavements are clean, there are a bit of flowers, and the Major General seems to be doing some work. Now, while the Major General is trying to salvage the situation, why would Governor Sonko and his team start harassing him, intimidating him, and denying him resources? Because believe you me, the normal residents in Nairobi just want service delivery. They don't care whether it's coming from Governor Sonko, it's coming from Governor Kidero, or Governor Wheeler, or whoever it is. They want service delivery.
Well, that's the bottom line.
And if you fail to deliver on your mandate, then you go home.
Okay, no, well, that's the bottom line. It's all about service delivery, and that is the expectations of the Nairobi residents. Let's take a short break right now. We'll be back in a few, but when we come back, it's one of my most favorite segments where we get to interact with the viewers back at home. Your call. We definitely love to hear what you have to say about the various issues we've talked about. It's been heated, especially around the BBI. What do you have to say? Not just that, the state of the economy, including the state of the capital, Nairobi County. Do stay with us. We'll be back in a jiffy.